Imagine walking into a room and instantly earning respect. Picture having people naturally follow your lead, trusting your judgment, and being inspired by your actions. That's not luck or chance. It's the result of mastering simple, practical leadership skills you can start using today. In the next few minutes, you're going to learn how to lead with confidence, make decisions that matter, and influence people without forcing it. Everyday audiobook will guide you step by step, showing real actions you can take every day to grow your authority, earn respect, and inspire loyalty. By the end of this video, you'll know the exact habits and mindset shifts that make leaders stand out, and you'll be ready to apply them immediately in your work, life, and relationships. Stick around, watch closely, and hit subscribe for more content that will help you level up fast. Number 1. Master confidence through consistent action. Confidence is not something that appears overnight. It is forged through repeated action, tested in the fire of real-life challenges, and strengthened each time you step forward despite doubt. True leaders do not wait for courage to find them. They create it through deliberate, consistent effort. The foundation of commanding respect and authority begins with an unwavering belief in your own capacity, and that belief is proven, not proclaimed. Confidence through consistent action is about showing up, taking responsibility, and demonstrating reliability to yourself and others. It is about cultivating an inner sense of certainty that others can feel, and that presence over time becomes magnetic. Confidence starts internally, with understanding who you are and what you stand for. This is not about arrogance or putting on a facade. It is about clarity of self. Reflect on your strengths, acknowledge your weaknesses, and embrace both as components of your unique identity. People who lead with authenticity radiate confidence because they do not try to mask their flaws, they manage them. When you take deliberate action, day after day, small victories accumulate into a tangible proof of capability. Every time you follow through on a promise, confront a challenge, or make a decision with integrity, your confidence grows incrementally, like compounding interest. Action is the engine that drives confidence. Thinking about being confident is not enough. Planning endlessly without execution breeds anxiety, not respect. Each deliberate step, no matter how small, demonstrates to your mind and to those around you that you are capable. Start with achievable actions, respond promptly, complete small tasks reliably, speak clearly in conversations, and take responsibility for your commitments. These actions may seem mundane, but they build a track record that underpins authority. People instinctively respect those who deliver consistently because it signals dependability and competence. Consistency is the bridge between intention and influence. Confidence that appears sporadically is easily dismissed. If you speak decisively one day but waver the next, trust erodes. Every choice you make to act with purpose strengthens your presence. Confidence is not a performance, it is a habit. Establish routines that reinforce reliability. Arrive on time, meet deadlines, honor promises, and maintain composure under stress. Your daily actions communicate far more than words ever could. Over time, the accumulation of consistent behavior becomes a powerful narrative of self-assurance and mastery. Facing fear is central to developing true confidence. Every leader encounters uncertainty and resistance, but those who act despite hesitation solidify their inner strength. Start by identifying areas where fear or doubt holds you back. Perhaps it is speaking up in meetings, confronting difficult team members, or making decisions under pressure. Instead of avoiding these moments, confront them deliberately. Take small steps to engage with situations that trigger discomfort. Each act of courage reinforces your self-belief. It is through repeated exposure that the mind begins to equate action with capability rather than hesitation with safety. Decision-making is a practical manifestation of confidence. Leaders are defined by their ability to choose a course of action and take responsibility for its outcomes. Indecision undermines authority because it communicates uncertainty and invites others to fill the void. Begin by making choices promptly, starting with minor decisions in daily life. Commit to them fully and observe the results. Over time, your confidence in decision-making grows. Even when outcomes are imperfect, the act of choosing and learning strengthens resilience, and resilience is a key pillar of authentic confidence. Another essential aspect is preparation. Confidence through action is not reckless bravado, it is informed decisiveness. Anticipate challenges, acquire relevant knowledge, and rehearse potential scenarios. When you act with preparation, uncertainty diminishes and your authority becomes evident. The balance of preparation and action cultivates a calm presence. People sense when a leader is grounded, not frantic. This calm assertiveness communicates that you are capable of navigating challenges, earning respect naturally. Every well-prepared action reinforces your credibility and bolsters the confidence that others perceive in you. Body language and presence are extensions of consistent action. Confidence is not just internal, it manifests physically. Stand tall, maintain eye contact, and move with intention. Simple adjustments in posture, voice tone, and pacing convey certainty even before words are spoken. These physical cues are reinforced when aligned with action. Consistently taking action that matches your projected presence eliminates dissonance and strengthens your authority. Over time, this alignment between internal belief, external action, and physical presence creates a magnetic influence that people naturally respect and follow. Failure is not a threat, but a teacher in this process. Leaders gain confidence by facing setbacks and persisting. Each failure provides actionable insights and an opportunity to refine your approach. Avoiding mistakes may feel safe, but it erodes credibility and limits growth. Confident individuals do not fear errors. They integrate lessons from experience into their next actions. By consistently learning and applying insights, your competence deepens and your authority strengthens. Over time, a pattern of deliberate action, learning, and adaptation creates unshakable confidence rooted in reality rather than ego. Accountability amplifies confidence. Consistent action includes holding yourself responsible for outcomes, both successes and mistakes. Avoiding blame or shifting responsibility erodes the perception of authority. When you demonstrate that you own your decisions and their consequences, you project a powerful message. Your word and actions carry weight. This reliability inspires trust, loyalty, and respect. Every step taken with accountability strengthens both internal conviction and external recognition of your leadership capacity. Confidence grows not from self-assured statements, but from the tangible proof of integrity in action. Confidence through action also requires patience and persistence. It is not an instantaneous transformation. Progress is gradual, measured in countless deliberate decisions and repeated behaviors. Each day, take meaningful steps toward mastery of your responsibilities, your craft, and your relationships. Reflect on your achievements regularly, no matter how small, to reinforce self-belief. Celebrate the completion of difficult tasks and acknowledge the personal growth embedded in each effort. This reflection not only fuels motivation, but deepens awareness of your evolving competence. Consistency in action also communicates vision. Leaders who act decisively inspire others to follow. When your behavior aligns with your principles and objectives, you demonstrate not only competence, but clarity of purpose. People are drawn to those who move forward with intention and reliability because it provides a sense of direction and stability. Consistently pursuing your goals with measurable action signals that your confidence is grounded in achievement, not vanity, and encourages others to mirror your commitment. Finally, confidence through consistent action is a lifelong practice. It is built in the small, seemingly inconsequential moments, as much as in major milestones. Every interaction, decision, and effort contributes to the growing reservoir of trust, capability, and authority. Leaders who understand this do not chase fleeting moments of self-assurance. They cultivate a durable, actionable confidence that commands respect. By integrating deliberate, accountable, courageous, and consistent action into daily life, you build not only your own strength, but also the inspiration and trust of those around you. In essence, mastering confidence through consistent action is the art of proving to yourself and others that you are reliable, capable, and unwavering. It is a commitment to showing up, making decisions, learning from setbacks, and following through on every promise. The quiet power of daily action, repeated with discipline, creates a leader whose presence commands attention, respect, and trust. This confidence is visible, tangible, and magnetic. It is the invisible force that turns intention into influence, fear into courage, and potential into lasting authority. Every small step, taken consistently and with purpose, becomes a building block of leadership that cannot be ignored, a living testament to the power of action in shaping not just who you are, but the impact you leave in the world. This chapter demonstrates that leadership begins not with speeches or titles, but with consistent, deliberate action that cultivates confidence, fosters respect, and transforms presence into authority. Every choice to act is an investment in your capacity to lead. Over time, the habit of consistent action cements not only your confidence, but your ability to inspire those around you, creating a life defined by discipline, integrity, and unshakable leadership. Number 2. Communicate vision with clear authority. A leader's ability to communicate a vision is the lifeblood of influence. Authority is not merely enforced by position or title. It is earned when people see a clear direction and understand not only where you are going, but why it matters. The power of a compelling vision lies in its ability to inspire action, align purpose, and instill confidence in those around you. Communicating that vision with authority is not about speaking louder or demanding attention. It is about clarity, conviction, and the ability to connect your goals with the values and motivations of others. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to reinforce that vision, and every word carries the weight of intention and belief. Clarity is the first step. A vision cannot inspire if it is muddled or vague. Leaders who command respect articulate their objectives with precision, breaking complex goals into understandable concepts that resonate with others. This clarity is rooted in preparation, reflection, and a deep understanding of both the task and the people involved. Consider the difference between a leader who says, "We need to improve," versus one who declares, "Our goal is to increase efficiency by 20% in the next quarter through streamlined processes and better collaboration." The second statement paints a tangible picture, leaving no room for ambiguity and inviting others to take deliberate steps toward achievement. The clearer the vision, the more confident and decisive the leadership appears, and the more naturally authority emerges. Authority in communication comes from conviction. People are attuned to authenticity. Hesitation or doubt erodes influence. Speaking with authority requires that your words are backed by knowledge, preparation, and a genuine belief in the purpose you are promoting. This is not about dominating conversations or overpowering others. It is about showing that you understand the path, its challenges and its rewards. Every statement should reflect certainty rooted in preparation and thoughtfulness. When others sense that your confidence is grounded in reality rather than ego, they are far more likely to trust and follow you. Conviction is contagious. It turns abstract ideas into shared purpose. Storytelling is a powerful tool in communicating vision. People connect to ideas emotionally before they understand them logically. A compelling story frames the vision in a context that engages hearts as well as minds. Share examples, scenarios, or analogies that illustrate the outcomes you seek and the steps required to achieve them. By embedding the vision in narrative, you make it memorable and relatable, transforming abstract goals into concrete, actionable images. This method is more persuasive than directives alone, as it appeals to human empathy and imagination, allowing others to visualize their role in the larger picture. Authority grows when your vision is understood deeply, not superficially. Consistency reinforces communication and strengthens authority. A single message can be powerful, but repeated, consistent messaging cements trust. Reinforce core principles, remind others of the purpose, and connect daily actions to the overarching goals. This does not mean repeating words verbatim. It means integrating the vision into everyday decisions, discussions, and demonstrations of leadership. Consistency creates predictability, and predictability fosters trust. People respect leaders whose actions and words align, whose vision does not shift with whims, and whose communication reflects both stability and direction. This alignment between intention and action is a hallmark of authority. Active listening enhances the impact of vision. Communication is not one way. Authority is amplified when you understand the perspectives, concerns, and aspirations of others. Engage genuinely with feedback, questions, and ideas. By showing that the vision is inclusive and considers the collective, you transform it from a personal ambition into a shared journey. People are more likely to commit when they feel heard and when their contributions reinforce the mission. Listening also provides insight into potential obstacles or misunderstandings, allowing the leader to clarify or adjust the approach while maintaining the integrity of the vision. A vision communicated with awareness of the audience is a vision that inspires both trust and action. Non-verbal communication is equally essential. The way a leader presents themselves through posture, tone, eye contact, and gestures can either reinforce or undermine the spoken word. Authority is conveyed as much through presence as through speech. Confident, deliberate movements, a steady tone, and calm composure convey that you are in control and fully invested in the direction you are setting. Nonverbal cues communicate certainty and poise, reinforcing the legitimacy of your vision. Aligning actions with words ensures that the message resonates, making it difficult for others to doubt the purpose or your ability to guide the process. Simplicity in messaging increases influence. Overcomplicated visions create confusion and disengagement. Strive to distill your goals into a few essential ideas that are easy to grasp and repeat. A simple, compelling vision can be communicated quickly and remembered long after a conversation ends. Use language that resonates with your audience's experiences and values, eliminating jargon or unnecessarily technical terms. When people understand the vision without effort, they are more likely to internalize it and act on it. Authority is reinforced when others can clearly articulate the direction without relying solely on the leader's explanation. Aligning vision with values strengthens commitment. People follow leaders who reflect principles they respect and share. Authority is amplified when the goals you communicate are consistent with ethical standards, fairness, and integrity. By demonstrating that the vision is not only strategic but morally grounded, you appeal to the deeper motivations of those around you. Values-driven communication builds trust, loyalty, and a willingness to follow even through challenges. When vision aligns with shared ideals, action becomes inspired rather than forced, and respect is earned naturally rather than demanded. Actionable steps solidify the vision into reality. Authority is most convincing when the leader demonstrates how goals translate into measurable outcomes. Break down the vision into concrete objectives, timelines, and responsibilities. Provide guidance on priorities and resources, but leave space for initiative and creativity. By showing exactly how the vision unfolds in practical terms, you transform abstract aspirations into achievable milestones. People are motivated when they see a clear path to success, and their confidence in your leadership grows as they experience progress and results. Authority is reinforced not by statements alone, but by the capacity to turn vision into accomplishment. Patience is critical. Communication of vision is not a one-time event, but an ongoing process. People need time to absorb, understand, and commit to the direction you are setting. Repeated engagement, thoughtful reinforcement, and measured encouragement build familiarity and trust. Authority grows gradually as the vision takes root in collective understanding. Impatience can undermine influence, creating pressure rather than alignment. Effective leaders recognize the rhythms of human comprehension and commitment, guiding others steadily toward shared objectives without forcing acceptance prematurely. Adaptability ensures that vision remains credible. Circumstances change, and effective leaders refine communication to address evolving challenges without diluting core purpose. Flexibility does not mean abandoning the mission. It means maintaining relevance, demonstrating awareness, and adjusting strategies while keeping the overarching goals intact. People respect leaders who navigate uncertainty with insight and composure, who maintain authority not by rigidity but by skillful adaptation. Clear, authoritative communication must be both firm in principle and agile in practice, balancing direction with responsiveness to reality. In the end, communicating vision with clear authority is the intersection of clarity, conviction, empathy, and action. It requires preparation, consistency, and authenticity. Authority emerges naturally when others understand not only where you are leading, but why the destination matters and how their contribution fits into the larger purpose. This is the essence of leadership, the ability to inspire belief, coordinate action, and instill confidence through words that are precise, intentional, and reinforced by action. Every conversation, presentation, and decision is an opportunity to demonstrate that clarity, conviction, and alignment with shared values are not abstract ideals. They are lived principles that guide people toward tangible outcomes. A leader who masters communication of vision fosters an environment where uncertainty is replaced by understanding, hesitation gives way to purposeful action, and doubt transforms into trust. People are drawn to direction that is comprehensible, compelling, and consistent. Authority grows from this combination of insight and execution, as each interaction affirms the leader's capability to guide, the relevance of the vision, and the potential of the collective. Communication becomes not just a tool but a practice of influence, creating alignment, inspiring action, and reinforcing the respect necessary to lead with impact. Number 3. Build trust before demanding respect. Respect cannot be demanded. It is earned, cultivated, and reinforced over time. At the heart of every strong relationship, whether personal or professional, lies trust. Trust is the foundation of influence, the invisible currency that allows a leader to guide, inspire, and mobilize others. Without it, authority is fragile, hollow, and easily dismantled. Leaders who seek respect without first building trust often encounter resistance, skepticism, and disengagement. The path to authentic leadership begins by demonstrating reliability, integrity, and empathy consistently, proving that your word carries weight and your actions align with your promises. Trust starts with honesty. Transparent communication, even when the truth is uncomfortable, signals to others that you operate with integrity. Concealing mistakes or misrepresenting facts may create temporary comfort, but it corrodes confidence and weakens authority. Leaders who openly acknowledge challenges, explain decisions candidly, and avoid exaggeration set the stage for genuine respect. Honesty is not just about revealing facts. It is about cultivating an environment where openness is valued and reciprocity is encouraged. People naturally gravitate toward those who speak and act with clarity and authenticity, because such behavior reduces uncertainty and builds confidence in leadership. Consistency in behavior reinforces trust. Sporadic demonstrations of competence or integrity are insufficient. Trust deepens when actions are predictable and aligned with stated principles. Showing up when expected, delivering on commitments, and maintaining standards in both triumphs and setbacks communicates that you can be relied upon. Each reliable action contributes to a larger narrative of dependability. Over time, this creates a perception of stability and resilience, encouraging others to place confidence in your leadership. Trust, once established through consistent behavior, becomes the foundation upon which respect grows organically. Empathy is an essential component of building trust. Understanding the perspectives, concerns, and motivations of those around you communicates that you value them as individuals, not merely as cogs in a system. Leaders who listen actively, recognize effort, and validate feelings foster loyalty and openness. Empathy does not imply weakness. It strengthens authority by demonstrating emotional intelligence and social awareness. When people feel seen and understood, they are more inclined to follow willingly and invest in the shared vision. The ability to balance empathy with decisiveness marks the difference between superficial authority and enduring influence. Reliability in small matters often precedes respect in larger ones. People notice the little things: arriving on time, following through on minor commitments, honoring agreements, and respecting others' time and boundaries. These seemingly trivial actions accumulate into a broader perception of integrity. Consistently honoring small obligations signals that you can be trusted with greater responsibilities and decisions. Leadership credibility is built gradually through repeated, observable demonstrations of reliability, not through grandiose gestures or proclamations. Every dependable action strengthens the web of trust that underpins authority. Setting clear expectations and honoring them reinforces trust. People are more likely to respect leaders who communicate what they expect and follow through with fairness and accountability. Vagueness or inconsistency generates confusion and undermines confidence. By establishing standards and adhering to them impartially, leaders convey fairness and transparency. Trust grows when individuals recognize that outcomes are determined by consistent principles rather than favoritism, improvisation, or whim. Respect emerges naturally when clarity and accountability govern interactions, creating a predictable framework in which collaboration can flourish. Vulnerability is a subtle yet powerful tool for cultivating trust. Leaders who acknowledge limitations, seek feedback, and admit when they do not have all the answers create a culture of authenticity. This openness does not weaken authority, rather it humanizes leadership, making it relatable and approachable. By demonstrating that imperfection is acceptable when coupled with responsibility and commitment, leaders encourage others to contribute without fear of judgment. Vulnerability builds psychological safety, a crucial element in fostering both trust and respect, and positions the leader as credible, self-aware, and grounded. Integrity in decision-making strengthens trust, even when choices are difficult or unpopular. Leaders who make principled decisions prioritize long-term credibility over short-term approval. Ethical consistency signals that your actions are guided by values rather than convenience or expediency. People respect leaders whose decisions align with stated principles and who navigate challenges with transparency. Over time, repeated evidence of principled conduct cultivates a reputation for fairness and moral clarity. Respect earned through integrity is more enduring than respect demanded through fear, manipulation, or positional authority. Reliance on accountability solidifies trust. Leaders who hold themselves accountable for outcomes, successes, and mistakes demonstrate maturity and credibility. Shifting blame or avoiding responsibility erodes trust and signals unreliability. By modeling accountability consistently, leaders create a culture in which others also take responsibility for their actions. This reciprocal reliability fosters a cohesive, high-performing environment where respect is a natural byproduct of mutual confidence and competence. Accountability reinforces the notion that leadership is not about status, but about dependable stewardship. Investing in others' growth further builds trust and earns respect. Leaders who prioritize development, mentor colleagues, and support skill building demonstrate commitment beyond immediate self-interest. By creating opportunities, providing guidance, and celebrating progress, leaders show that they value others' success as much as their own. This investment signals that leadership is not self-serving, but service-oriented, inspiring loyalty and admiration. Trust deepens when people perceive that the leader's influence benefits the collective rather than advancing a narrow personal agenda. Transparency about intentions and processes removes ambiguity. When others understand the rationale behind actions and decisions, uncertainty diminishes and trust increases. Concealing motives or leaving critical information incomplete fosters suspicion and disengagement. Clear explanations about goals, strategies, and expected outcomes communicate respect for others' intelligence and autonomy. Leaders who articulate not only the what but the why create an environment in which trust and respect thrive, because clarity replaces doubt with comprehension and alignment. Patience and persistence are vital in building trust. Relationships, especially those that involve influence and authority, cannot be accelerated artificially. Trust grows incrementally through repeated, observable behavior. Demonstrating patience in interactions, maintaining consistency under pressure, and sustaining commitment to shared goals solidify credibility. Even small acts of integrity, repeated over time, accumulate into a robust framework of trust. Respect follows naturally when others observe unwavering dedication, ethical consistency, and a pattern of reliability that cannot be questioned. Boundaries complement trust. Leaders who maintain clear personal and professional limits communicate respect for themselves and others. Boundaries clarify roles, responsibilities, and expectations, reducing confusion and conflict. By protecting integrity while encouraging collaboration, leaders create an environment in which trust flourishes. Respect is more likely when people understand both the limits and the principles guiding leadership, ensuring that authority is exercised fairly, consistently, and predictably. Trust building is an active, ongoing process. It requires deliberate attention to words, actions, and interactions. Each choice either reinforces credibility or erodes it. Leaders who recognize the cumulative effect of their behavior invest continuously in maintaining trust. Over time, This persistent effort transforms initial skepticism into confidence, and confidence into respect. Authority is not declared. It is recognized, earned, and reinforced through repeated demonstrations of reliability, empathy, and integrity. Ultimately, trust precedes respect, because authority grounded in fear, coercion, or superficial compliance is fragile. Leaders who prioritize building trust create a durable foundation that amplifies influence. People willingly follow those they trust because confidence in the leader aligns with their own security, goals, and values. Trust fosters collaboration, engagement, and commitment, which are far more effective than any attempt to command obedience. Leadership that begins with trust and is maintained through integrity, consistency, and empathy becomes a force that inspires not only respect but loyalty, admiration, and long-term impact. Number 4. Lead decisively. Embrace accountability always. Decisive leadership is the hallmark of influence and respect. In every setting, hesitation creates doubt, confusion, and missed opportunity. Those who hesitate allow circumstances to dictate outcomes, while decisive leaders take charge, define direction, and act with clarity. Decisiveness is not impulsiveness. It is a deliberate, thoughtful commitment to choosing a course of action and moving forward with confidence. People follow those who demonstrate clarity, confidence, and initiative because it reduces uncertainty and creates momentum. Authority grows naturally when a leader consistently makes decisions that are purposeful, informed, and timely. Making decisive choices begins with understanding priorities. Clarity of purpose allows leaders to differentiate between what truly matters and what can be deferred or delegated. This requires assessing information critically, weighing potential outcomes, and committing to a path even when the full picture is not visible. Leaders do not wait for perfect circumstances. They act based on the best information available, adjusting as necessary while maintaining focus on the overarching goal. This balance of decisiveness and adaptability creates trust, confidence, and a reputation for capable leadership. Embracing accountability is inseparable from decisive action. Every choice carries consequences, and true leaders accept responsibility for both success and failure. Shifting blame or avoiding ownership undermines credibility and diminishes authority. By taking responsibility, leaders signal that their actions are intentional and principled. Accountability demonstrates integrity, reinforces reliability, and fosters an environment where others are inspired to take responsibility for their roles. It is through this combination of decisiveness and accountability that leadership transforms from abstract concept to tangible influence. Preparation strengthens the ability to act decisively. Decisions made in ignorance or without context are prone to errors, hesitation, and erosion of confidence. Leaders who gather relevant information, anticipate potential obstacles, and understand the resources available are better equipped to make choices that are timely and effective. This preparation does not equate to indecision. It allows for clarity of judgment and reduces the risk of reactive, poorly informed choices. A prepared leader commands authority not only because of what they decide, but because they demonstrate competence, foresight, and control. Decisive leadership requires managing fear of failure. Every significant decision carries risk, and hesitation often stems from the desire to avoid mistakes. Leaders transform fear into action by reframing challenges as opportunities for learning and growth. Even when outcomes are uncertain, moving forward with resolve strengthens resilience, reinforces credibility, and communicates confidence to others. People are drawn to leaders who act boldly, yet responsibly, demonstrating the ability to navigate challenges without paralysis or indecision. Courage, tempered with prudence, becomes the foundation of lasting authority. Timeliness amplifies the impact of decisiveness. Delayed decisions can erode confidence, stall progress, and frustrate those who rely on guidance. A leader who acts promptly creates momentum, demonstrates confidence, and sets expectations for responsiveness within a team or organization. Timely decisions do not mean rushing recklessly. They reflect a balance of assessment and action, ensuring that direction is established without unnecessary hesitation. Each timely choice reinforces the perception of capability and enhances respect from colleagues and followers. Emotional control underpins decisive action. Leaders who react impulsively to stress, criticism, or unforeseen events compromise both judgment and influence. Maintaining composure allows for rational assessment, measured decisions, and consistent follow-through. A calm presence conveys confidence and reassures those affected by the outcomes of decisions. Emotional discipline ensures that choices are guided by purpose rather than reaction, reinforcing authority while fostering trust and stability in the environment. Transparency strengthens both decisiveness and accountability. Communicating the rationale behind decisions creates clarity and reduces ambiguity. People respect leaders who explain their reasoning, acknowledge potential risks, and outline expected outcomes. Transparency fosters collaboration, encourages feedback, and demonstrates that decisions are grounded in thoughtfulness rather than arbitrary preference. This clarity builds trust, aligns effort, and amplifies the leader's influence because it transforms abstract authority into observable competence. Delegation complements decisive leadership by ensuring action is multiplied through capable execution. Recognizing that no one can manage every task alone is essential for effective leadership. Delegating with clarity and confidence communicates trust, empowers others, and ensures that objectives are pursued efficiently. Accountability extends to the delegation process. Leaders who monitor progress, provide support, and accept responsibility for outcomes reinforce reliability and sustain authority. A leader who decides, delegates, and maintains accountability demonstrates both strategic vision and operational mastery. Adaptability enhances the power of decisive action. Even the most thorough preparation cannot account for every variable. Leaders who remain flexible and adjust decisions in response to new information or changing circumstances demonstrate prudence and situational awareness. Adaptability does not dilute decisiveness. It reinforces authority by showing that leadership is rooted in judgment, not rigidity. By responding intelligently to evolving challenges, leaders maintain momentum, inspire confidence, and model the balance between firmness and agility that defines effective guidance. Learning from outcomes strengthens future decisiveness. Every decision, whether successful or flawed, provides insight into processes, risks, and the dynamics of influence. Reflecting on outcomes, identifying lessons, and incorporating them into future choices enhances judgment and sharpens leadership skill. This iterative approach transforms action into mastery, turning experience into a continuous cycle of improvement. Leaders who act decisively and embrace accountability become sources of wisdom, as each decision contributes to both personal growth and organizational competence. Ethical grounding guides decisions and solidifies respect. Leaders who make choices based on principles rather than convenience or expedience demonstrate integrity. People are more likely to follow those whose actions reflect consistent values, especially under pressure. Ethical decisiveness creates predictability and trust, reinforcing both credibility and moral authority. Accountability extends to ethical adherence, ensuring that even difficult decisions align with core beliefs, building respect that endures beyond individual achievements. Visible commitment to outcomes reinforces both authority and influence. Leaders who dedicate themselves fully to the execution of their decisions convey seriousness, reliability, and perseverance. Commitment inspires confidence among followers because it signals that the leader is invested not just in authority but in tangible results. Accountability for outcomes, demonstrated through effort and persistence, ensures that leadership is credible and admired, not merely ceremonial. People are motivated to follow when they see dedication coupled with decisiveness. Consistency integrates all aspects of decisive leadership, repeatedly acting with purpose, taking responsibility for outcomes, maintaining ethical standards, and adapting thoughtfully creates a rhythm of reliability. This consistency establishes predictability in both behavior and decision-making, which fosters trust and strengthens influence. Authority emerges from the accumulation of deliberate, principled actions that reinforce each other over time. Leadership becomes a living demonstration of competence, integrity, and resilience, which commands attention and inspires commitment. In essence, leading decisively and embracing accountability is a practice that shapes perception, behavior, and outcomes. It is not an occasional display of courage, but a continuous application of judgment, responsibility, and integrity. Each decision, action, and acknowledgement of consequence builds credibility and authority. Leadership grounded in decisiveness and accountability transforms uncertainty into direction, hesitation into momentum, and potential into measurable achievement. People are drawn to leaders who act boldly, own results, and maintain composure under pressure, because such leadership instills confidence, fosters trust, and inspires respect. Authority is never assumed. It is earned by consistently demonstrating the courage to choose, the wisdom to act deliberately, and the integrity to accept responsibility, creating a legacy of influence that is as enduring as it is effective. Number 5. Inspire loyalty through authentic connection. Loyalty is not demanded, it is cultivated through authentic connection. The strongest leaders are not those who command obedience with authority alone, but those who build relationships that resonate deeply with the people they lead. Authentic connection is the bridge between influence and respect, creating a sense of belonging, trust, and commitment. People are drawn to leaders who demonstrate genuine interest in their lives, recognize their efforts, and create an environment where contributions are valued. Loyalty is born when individuals feel seen, understood, and supported, not when they feel coerced or manipulated. Connection begins with presence. Leaders must engage fully in every interaction, showing attention and awareness. A simple shift from distraction to focused listening transforms ordinary exchanges into meaningful communication. By tuning in to the verbal and non-verbal cues of others, leaders convey respect and empathy. People instinctively respond to those who acknowledge their perspective and experiences. Presence is not passive, it requires active engagement, curiosity, and attentiveness. Consistently demonstrating presence creates a foundation of trust upon which loyalty grows. Transparency nurtures authentic connection. Sharing intentions, challenges, and reasoning cultivates openness and minimizes suspicion. People feel included when leaders communicate honestly about decisions and processes. Vulnerability in leadership, expressed through honesty about uncertainty or admitting mistakes, enhances authenticity rather than diminishing authority. It signals that the leader is human, approachable, and committed to shared objectives. Authenticity in communication builds emotional bridges, fostering a sense of alignment between the leader and those they guide. Empathy strengthens bonds of loyalty. Leaders who understand the emotions, motivations, and needs of others create trust and commitment. Empathy requires observation, active listening, and an intention to understand rather than judge. By validating experiences and acknowledging challenges, leaders demonstrate that they value individuals beyond their performance. Empathy is not indulgence, it is a strategic foundation for building strong, resilient relationships. When people feel genuinely understood, they respond with loyalty that is both sincere and enduring. Recognition reinforces connection. Acknowledging effort, achievement, and growth communicates that contributions are noticed and appreciated. Authentic recognition goes beyond superficial praise. It identifies specific actions, celebrates perseverance, and reinforces alignment with the larger vision. People who feel valued are more likely to invest their energy, creativity, and loyalty into shared goals. Recognition, when consistent and meaningful, cultivates an emotional attachment to the leader's mission, transforming commitment into sustained dedication. Consistency in behavior solidifies trust, which is inseparable from authentic connection. When leaders act predictably, honor commitments, and uphold principles, individuals feel secure in the relationship. Reliability reduces uncertainty, builds confidence, and strengthens the emotional bond between leader and team. People are more inclined to stay committed when they know they can depend on the leader to act with integrity and fairness. Over time, consistent alignment between words and actions produces a deep sense of loyalty grounded in trust. Listening is a critical tool for fostering authentic connection. Leaders who genuinely seek to understand others' ideas, concerns, and aspirations cultivate engagement and collaboration. Active listening demonstrates respect and inclusion, signaling that the perspectives of others matter. It encourages dialogue, feedback, and mutual problem-solving, creating a partnership rather than a hierarchy. People who feel heard are more likely to trust decisions, support initiatives, and remain loyal, knowing their input shapes outcomes. Investing in personal growth and development deepens connection. Leaders who prioritize mentorship, provide guidance, and create opportunities for learning communicate that they care about more than immediate results. By nurturing potential, leaders demonstrate commitment to long-term success and mutual benefit. This investment fosters loyalty because individuals recognize that their well-being, skill development, and career growth are valued alongside organizational objectives. Authentic connection thrives in environments where leaders actively contribute to the advancement of others. Shared purpose strengthens loyalty by aligning individual goals with a collective vision. Leaders who clearly articulate the why behind initiatives create emotional resonance. People are more likely to commit wholeheartedly when they understand how their efforts contribute to a larger mission. Connection is amplified when individuals feel that their work is meaningful and that their leader shares the same dedication. By framing objectives in terms of shared values and mutual benefit, leaders inspire loyalty that transcends transactional motivation. Vulnerability in leadership fosters trust and deepens relationships. When leaders admit to challenges, mistakes, or uncertainty, they humanize their role, encouraging reciprocity in openness and honesty. This transparency builds emotional intimacy, reduces fear, and creates psychological safety. Authentic connection is strengthened when individuals feel comfortable expressing ideas, concerns, and feedback without judgment. Loyalty flourishes in environments where authenticity is modeled and encouraged by the leader. Fairness and integrity underpin sustainable loyalty. Leaders who act ethically enforce standards equitably and treat others with respect foster an environment of trust. Inconsistent treatment, favoritism, or compromise of principles undermines connection and erodes commitment. People respect leaders who demonstrate moral clarity and fairness, knowing that their dedication is valued and safeguarded. Loyalty is reinforced when individuals perceive the leader's authority as legitimate, principled, and worthy of trust. Accessibility reinforces authentic connection. Leaders who are approachable, open to dialogue, and available to provide guidance create an environment where loyalty is nurtured. Accessibility communicates that the leader values interaction and is willing to invest time and energy into relationships. This presence allows for immediate support, clarification, and recognition, strengthening emotional bonds. People naturally gravitate toward leaders who are present and engaged, increasing commitment and willingness to follow. Active engagement builds loyalty by demonstrating genuine interest and involvement. Leaders who participate, collaborate, and share responsibility cultivate trust and respect. Engagement signals investment, competence, and solidarity. By taking part in challenges, celebrating successes, and addressing difficulties alongside the team, leaders reinforce the authenticity of their connection. People are more motivated to remain loyal when they perceive that the leader is fully immersed in the shared journey, not detached or purely directive. Adaptability in communication fosters stronger bonds. Leaders who adjust their approach to match the needs, preferences, and dynamics of others demonstrate awareness and responsiveness. Authentic connection is enhanced when individuals feel understood and supported in ways that resonate personally. Flexibility does not compromise authority, rather it communicates sensitivity, respect, and a commitment to meaningful engagement. Loyalty is strengthened when people see that leadership considers their perspectives and adapts thoughtfully to support success. Shared experiences cultivate deeper loyalty. Leaders who engage with others in practical, meaningful ways through challenges, collaborative projects, and mutual problem-solving create bonds that transcend formal roles. Experiences forge collective memory, shared understanding, and mutual reliance. Connection is not built solely through words. It is strengthened through lived interaction, teamwork, and navigating adversity together. Loyalty emerges naturally when individuals feel part of a cohesive, purpose-driven community guided by authentic leadership. Empowering others reinforces trust and connection. Leaders who provide autonomy, encourage initiative, and support decision-making demonstrate respect for competence and judgment. Empowerment signals confidence in others' abilities and fosters ownership of outcomes. Individuals who feel trusted and capable are more likely to invest their energy, creativity, and loyalty. Authentic connection is strengthened when leadership creates conditions that allow others to thrive, reinforcing a reciprocal relationship of respect and dedication. Consistency, empathy, transparency, and engagement form the pillars of loyalty cultivated through authentic connection. Leaders who integrate these qualities into their daily interactions create a culture where commitment is earned, relationships are strengthened, and influence is solidified. Authenticity, demonstrated through action and presence, builds a sense of belonging and investment that goes beyond compliance. People remain loyal not because they are required to, but because they feel connected, understood, and valued, making their dedication both voluntary and enduring. In essence, inspiring loyalty through authentic connection is a deliberate practice that combines empathy, transparency, engagement, fairness, and support. Leaders who invest in meaningful relationships, demonstrate genuine interest, recognize contributions, and empower others create a network of trust and commitment. Authority becomes natural, influence becomes durable, and respect is earned as a reflection of consistent, authentic behavior. Loyalty is not a reward, it is the product of sustained connection, presence, and integrity that transforms leadership into an enduring force of inspiration and commitment. Number 6. Set standards. Enforce them consistently. Standards are the invisible framework upon which excellence and authority are built. They define expectations, guide behavior, and shape the culture in which leadership operates. A leader who sets high standards communicates a vision of what is possible and signals that mediocrity is not acceptable. These standards are not arbitrary. They reflect competence, integrity, and commitment to results. Authority grows naturally when people understand what is expected and observe that those expectations are applied consistently without favoritism or compromise. Clear standards create clarity, foster accountability, and cultivate respect by establishing a predictable environment where performance aligns with values. Defining standards begins with clarity of purpose. Leaders must articulate not only what is expected, but why those expectations matter. Every standard should serve a meaningful objective, whether it is improving efficiency, fostering professionalism, or encouraging innovation. When individuals understand the rationale behind standards, compliance becomes not a burden, but an expression of alignment with shared goals. Standards grounded in purpose provide a framework that guides behavior, shapes priorities, and motivates people to contribute at their highest level. Clarity eliminates ambiguity and ensures that everyone knows where they stand and what they are striving toward. Consistency is the lifeblood of enforcing standards. Without reliable application, even the most well-defined expectations lose power. Leaders must apply rules and guidelines impartially, regardless of rank, relationship, or circumstance. Consistent enforcement communicates fairness, credibility, and reliability. People notice when standards are unevenly applied. Inconsistency breeds frustration, resentment, and confusion, undermining authority. A leader who enforces expectations without favoritism builds trust while establishing a reputation for integrity. Over time, consistent application of standards creates an environment where excellence is habitual rather than exceptional, and respect is earned rather than demanded. Standards must be realistic yet aspirational. Setting the bar too low signals complacency, while unattainable goals breed discouragement and disengagement. Effective leaders assess capabilities, resources, and context to create expectations that challenge without overwhelming. Aspirational standards inspire growth and encourage individuals to push beyond comfort zones, while providing achievable benchmarks to track progress. By balancing ambition with attainability, leaders foster motivation, resilience, and a culture of continuous improvement. Authority is reinforced when people see that expectations are thoughtfully calibrated, driving performance without compromising morale. Communication is essential in setting and maintaining standards. Expectations must be articulated clearly, leaving no room for misinterpretation. Leaders who explain procedures, behaviors, and outcomes in precise terms minimize confusion and ensure alignment. Communication is not a one-time event. It requires repetition, reinforcement, and modeling. Standards must be visible in both guidance and action, so that individuals understand the criteria by which their performance is evaluated. Transparent communication builds trust, supports accountability, and establishes credibility, allowing standards to guide behavior effectively. Accountability underpins the enforcement of standards. Leaders must hold themselves and others responsible for meeting expectations. Accountability communicates that standards are not symbolic, but actionable and consequential. When deviations occur, timely and appropriate correction reinforces the seriousness of the standard, while providing opportunities for learning and growth. Holding others accountable requires balance, addressing issues firmly yet constructively, maintaining dignity, and encouraging improvement. Through accountability, leaders demonstrate commitment to principles and operational excellence, strengthening their influence and reinforcing the importance of the standards set. Modeling the behavior expected of others amplifies the power of standards. Leaders cannot demand adherence to rules they do not follow themselves. Leading by example demonstrates integrity, reinforces expectations, and inspires emulation. People respect leaders whose actions align with spoken directives because it signals authenticity and credibility. Modeling standards consistently communicates that excellence is non-negotiable and achievable, while highlighting that adherence is a shared responsibility. Authority grows when leaders embody the principles they advocate, making standards tangible rather than abstract concepts. Observation and feedback are critical tools in maintaining high standards. Leaders must monitor performance, recognize excellence, and address gaps promptly. Feedback should be specific, actionable, and timely, guiding individuals toward improvement while reinforcing positive behaviors. Constructive feedback demonstrates investment in personal and professional growth, fostering engagement and loyalty. Observation ensures that standards remain relevant and that deviations are addressed before they become systemic. By actively participating in performance monitoring, leaders sustain a culture of accountability and demonstrate that standards are integral to success. Adaptation is necessary to ensure that standards remain effective. Contexts evolve, resources change, and expectations may require refinement. Effective leaders periodically evaluate the relevance, clarity, and impact of their standards, making adjustments where appropriate without compromising core principles. Adaptability ensures that standards continue to challenge and guide without becoming outdated or irrelevant. Leaders who maintain high expectations while demonstrating flexibility reinforce authority by showing discernment, strategic thinking, and responsiveness to changing circumstances. Recognition reinforces adherence to standards. Celebrating achievements, rewarding consistency, and acknowledging excellence motivates continued compliance and sets benchmarks for others to follow. Recognition communicates that standards are attainable and valued, fostering a culture of pride and accountability. Individuals who see their efforts noticed and appreciated are more likely to internalize expectations and commit to sustaining performance. Authority is strengthened when recognition is balanced with enforcement, highlighting both achievement and the importance of consistent standards. Cultural alignment magnifies the impact of standards. Leaders must ensure that expectations reflect the values, principles, and priorities of the organization or group. Standards that are congruent with shared beliefs resonate more deeply and are embraced willingly. Misaligned standards create tension, resistance, and confusion, undermining authority and cohesion. Leaders who embed expectations within a framework of shared values cultivate commitment, clarity, and a collective sense of purpose. Authentic enforcement of culturally aligned standards fosters respect, loyalty, and sustained performance. Consistency in enforcing standards also strengthens decision-making credibility. When rules are applied predictably and fairly, leaders build confidence in their judgment and authority. People are more likely to accept decisions, follow directives, and contribute proactively when they trust that the framework of expectations is equitable and principled. Predictable enforcement reduces uncertainty and conflict, creating an environment where focus shifts from questioning authority to pursuing results. Leadership becomes more effective when standards provide a reliable structure for behavior and decision-making. Setting standards cultivates personal discipline in both leaders and followers. Standards create a framework that guides choices, prioritizes effort, and encourages accountability. By holding themselves and others to a defined level of excellence, leaders foster habits of responsibility, diligence, and integrity. This discipline becomes contagious, influencing the broader culture and creating momentum toward higher performance. Authority emerges from the consistent demonstration of competence, commitment, and principled enforcement of expectations. In essence, setting standards and enforcing them consistently establishes the framework for excellence, accountability and respect. Clear, aspirational expectations, applied fairly and reliably, guide behavior, foster trust, and inspire commitment. Leaders who communicate standards effectively, model them authentically, and hold themselves and others accountable create an environment where authority is recognized naturally. Standards shape culture, drive performance, and reinforce credibility, demonstrating that leadership is not merely about direction, but about cultivating habits, values, and excellence that others willingly follow. Authority anchored in consistent standards is durable, respected, and transformative, creating a legacy of reliability, discipline, and achievement that extends far beyond any single action or decision. Number 7. Empower others while maintaining boundaries. Empowering others is a defining quality of exceptional leadership. It transforms individuals from passive participants into active contributors and creates a culture of initiative, creativity, and engagement. True empowerment goes beyond delegation. It involves providing the tools, guidance, and authority for others to take ownership while fostering confidence in their abilities. Yet empowerment without boundaries risks chaos, overreach, or confusion. The most effective leaders strike a delicate balance, giving autonomy while maintaining a framework that preserves accountability, structure, and clarity. Boundaries do not restrict freedom, they create the space in which people can excel safely and purposefully. Empowerment begins with trust. Leaders must believe in the capability of others to take responsibility and make meaningful contributions. This belief is communicated through delegation, support, and clear expectation setting. Trust is not given blindly, it is built by observing skills, reliability, and consistency over time. When people sense that a leader genuinely has confidence in their abilities, they rise to the occasion, taking initiative and demonstrating creativity. Empowerment signals respect for competence and encourages individuals to step forward, confident that their contributions are valued. Boundaries provide clarity, structure, and limits within which empowerment is meaningful. They define roles, responsibilities, and decision-making authority, ensuring that autonomy does not become disorder. Effective boundaries protect the integrity of the organization, prevent overstepping, and maintain alignment with objectives. Leaders who establish clear parameters allow others to act independently, while providing the guidance needed to avoid missteps. Boundaries communicate that empowerment is intentional, purposeful, and framed within expectations that safeguard both individual and collective success. Communication is crucial in balancing empowerment with boundaries. Leaders must articulate the scope of authority, expectations, and resources available. Clear instructions on priorities and limits reduce ambiguity and build confidence. Transparency about decision-making parameters allows individuals to operate autonomously while knowing when to escalate, seek guidance, or coordinate with others. By defining both the freedom and constraints of action, leaders cultivate an environment where creativity and accountability coexist, and authority is reinforced through clarity. Support enhances empowerment, providing access to resources, information, mentorship, and guidance strengthens individuals' ability to perform independently. Support does not mean micromanaging, it means offering tools and knowledge that increase competence and confidence. When people feel supported, they are more willing to take initiative, innovate, and embrace responsibility. Leadership presence reinforces the understanding that boundaries are not punitive, but protective, designed to enable success while safeguarding against preventable errors. Feedback sustains growth within empowered environments. Constructive, timely feedback helps individuals understand the impact of their actions and aligns behavior with expectations. It reinforces boundaries while encouraging exploration and learning. Empowerment without feedback can lead to stagnation, misalignment, or unproductive risk-taking. By offering guidance, insight, and acknowledgement, leaders ensure that autonomy is productive and individuals continue to develop skills, judgment, and confidence. Feedback reinforces trust, strengthens capability, and solidifies the effectiveness of empowerment. Accountability is the other side of empowerment. Autonomy requires responsibility. Leaders must ensure that individuals understand the consequences of their decisions and actions. Holding people accountable reinforces boundaries without diminishing initiative. When people accept responsibility for outcomes, they internalize standards, develop resilience, and become more confident in their decision-making. Accountability paired with empowerment transforms freedom into productive agency, creating a culture in which people feel both trusted and guided. Empowerment strengthens engagement. When individuals feel their contributions matter and that they have the authority to act meaningfully, motivation rises. Leaders who provide autonomy while maintaining boundaries encourage ownership, innovation, and commitment to collective objectives. Boundaries give structure to freedom, while empowerment gives purpose to authority. People become invested, not because they are told to perform, but because they are enabled and trusted to make a difference within a clearly defined framework. Confidence grows through empowerment. Leaders who entrust others with responsibilities foster skill development and self-assurance. The experience of making decisions, learning from mistakes, and seeing the impact of one's actions nurtures personal growth. Boundaries act as a safety net, preventing catastrophic errors while encouraging experimentation. This combination allows individuals to test limits, expand capabilities, and build the competence necessary to operate independently and effectively. Confidence, once developed, multiplies initiative and strengthens both loyalty and trust. Modeling behavior is essential in an empowered, boundary-driven environment. Leaders must demonstrate how to navigate autonomy responsibly, showing how to make decisions, manage resources, and act within limits. Modeling provides a blueprint for success, illustrating that empowerment is purposeful, strategic, and disciplined. Actions speak louder than instructions, and consistent demonstration of how to operate within boundaries builds credibility, reinforces standards, and encourages others to mirror the behavior expected of them. Empowerment fosters innovation. When people have the freedom to explore ideas while understanding their limits, creativity thrives. Boundaries do not stifle innovation. They channel energy into productive directions, aligning experimentation with goals. By setting guardrails and encouraging initiative, leaders create a culture where calculated risk-taking is rewarded and mistakes are treated as opportunities for learning. Innovation flourishes when autonomy is framed within the structure of responsibility, demonstrating the synergy between freedom and guidance. Delegation is a practical expression of empowerment. Leaders who assign tasks and authority effectively communicate trust while clarifying responsibility. Delegation within clear boundaries ensures that tasks are completed efficiently while developing capability and ownership. It prevents bottlenecks, distributes responsibility, and fosters leadership development within the team. Delegation communicates confidence in others' abilities, reinforces standards, and provides a mechanism for growth, accountability, and performance alignment. Adaptability strengthens empowerment. Leaders who adjust boundaries to match evolving competence, changing circumstances, and organizational needs create a dynamic environment where autonomy can grow safely. Flexibility signals confidence in judgment and encourages initiative while maintaining structure. By calibrating freedom and limits according to context, leaders ensure that empowerment is sustainable, relevant, and aligned with objectives. Adaptability reinforces both trust and authority, demonstrating discernment and responsiveness. Recognition reinforces empowered behavior within boundaries. Acknowledging initiative, success, and problem-solving demonstrates that responsible autonomy is valued and respected. Recognition motivates continued effort, reinforces alignment with expectations, and validates the judgment exercised within the parameters set. People are more likely to take initiative when they see that thoughtful, boundary-aware action is celebrated and rewarded. Recognition strengthens engagement, confidence, and loyalty, solidifying the culture of empowered responsibility. Empowerment without structure can lead to confusion, conflict, and erosion of authority. Boundaries prevent overreach, clarify responsibilities, and ensure alignment with overarching goals. Leaders maintain influence by defining limits that support, rather than constrain, independence. This framework provides safety, clarity, and predictability, allowing individuals to exercise judgment while preserving organizational coherence. Boundaries are not restrictions, but enablers of productive freedom. Sustained empowerment requires reflection and recalibration. Leaders must evaluate the effectiveness of autonomy, the clarity of boundaries, and the outcomes produced. Adjustments should be made to optimize performance, encourage growth, and maintain alignment with organizational values. Continuous refinement ensures that empowerment remains purposeful and boundaries remain relevant, preventing drift or misalignment while fostering ongoing development, trust, and accountability. In essence, empowering others while maintaining boundaries is a strategic art. It requires trust, clarity, support, accountability, and adaptability. Leaders who cultivate autonomy within defined limits foster confidence, engagement, and innovation while preserving structure and alignment. Boundaries guide freedom, prevent chaos, and maintain standards, while empowerment inspires ownership, initiative, and loyalty. The combination of these practices creates a culture in which individuals thrive, responsibility is embraced, and leadership is respected. Authority is strengthened not by control, but by the ability to enable, guide, and protect autonomy, resulting in sustainable performance, trust, and lasting influence. Number 8. Listen actively. Respond with purpose. Active listening is the cornerstone of effective leadership and meaningful connection. To lead with authority and inspire respect, it is not enough to hear words. One must fully engage with the message, understanding the context, emotions, and intentions behind them. Leaders who listen actively demonstrate empathy, intelligence, and discernment, creating an environment where people feel valued, understood, and motivated. Listening is an act of respect, a conscious choice to focus entirely on the speaker without distraction, judgment, or assumption. Through attentive listening, leaders gather insight, strengthen relationships, and position themselves to respond in ways that drive impact, build trust, and cultivate loyalty. Engaged listening begins with presence. True attention requires more than merely being physically available. It involves directing mental energy, eliminating distractions, and tuning into both verbal and non-verbal cues. A leader who looks beyond words to notice tone, body language, and emotional undercurrents gains a richer understanding of the message. This depth of perception allows for more nuanced interpretation, revealing underlying concerns, motivations, and opportunities that might otherwise be missed. Presence communicates to the speaker that their voice matters, establishing a foundation of trust and respect that cannot be manufactured through superficial attention. Empathy is inseparable from active listening. Leaders who seek to understand the speaker's perspective demonstrate care and emotional intelligence. Empathy requires suspending personal biases, refraining from immediate judgment, and striving to grasp the feelings and reasoning behind the words. By connecting emotionally, leaders build rapport and foster psychological safety, encouraging open, honest dialogue. When individuals feel understood, they are more willing to share information, take risks, and align with the leader's objectives, creating an environment where collaboration and commitment thrive. Clarifying understanding strengthens the power of listening. Leaders must confirm that they have accurately grasped the content and intention of the communication. Techniques such as paraphrasing, asking open-ended questions, and reflecting back key points show attentiveness and ensure mutual comprehension. Clarification prevents miscommunication, reduces errors, and demonstrates that the leader values accuracy and understanding over assumptions or convenience. A response built on true comprehension resonates more effectively, reinforcing credibility, authority, and alignment. Active listening also requires patience. Leaders must resist the urge to interrupt, rush, or prematurely solve problems. By allowing others the time and space to articulate thoughts fully, leaders gain richer insight and signal that they respect the speaker's perspective. Patience in listening demonstrates restraint, self-control, and a commitment to understanding before reacting. This discipline enhances credibility and models behavior that encourages thoughtful, deliberate dialogue within the broader organization or team. Contextual awareness is critical to purposeful response. Understanding not only what is said, but why it is said, allows leaders to respond strategically. Active listening involves interpreting the meaning behind words, identifying priorities, and recognizing subtle cues that indicate urgency, concern, or opportunity. Responses grounded in context demonstrate discernment, intelligence, and relevance, ensuring that action is targeted, effective, and credible. Leaders who respond without context risk misalignment, misinterpretation, and diminished authority, whereas those who respond thoughtfully reinforce trust, respect, and confidence. Purposeful response involves aligning feedback and action with the overarching objectives and values of leadership. A response is meaningful when it addresses the core of the issue, provides guidance, clarifies expectations, or validates contributions. Leaders who respond purposefully avoid reactive, impulsive, or superficial replies. Every interaction becomes an opportunity to strengthen alignment, demonstrate competence, and inspire confidence. Purposeful responses reinforce the notion that communication in leadership is not perfunctory, but intentional, designed to advance understanding, action, and trust. Listening actively provides insight for informed decision-making. Leaders who truly hear concerns, ideas, and perspectives acquire a broader, more accurate understanding of the environment. This intelligence allows for solutions that are strategic, inclusive, and effective. Decisions informed by careful listening reflect thoughtfulness and discernment, fostering confidence among those affected. Authority is reinforced when individuals recognize that leadership choices are grounded in observation, comprehension, and reason rather than assumption or habit. Trust is strengthened through consistent listening and purposeful response. When people feel their voices are heard and their input is valued, confidence in leadership grows. Active listening demonstrates that contributions matter and that the leader respects the individual as both a professional and a human being. This validation encourages ongoing engagement, transparency, and collaboration. Over time, repeated demonstration of attentive listening and relevant response establishes a pattern of reliability and respect, solidifying loyalty and enhancing influence. Feedback from active listening fosters growth and development. Leaders who engage thoughtfully with input can provide constructive guidance that addresses both strengths and areas for improvement. This process creates a learning environment where individuals feel supported rather than criticized. By responding purposefully, leaders guide action, reinforce expectations, and cultivate competence. Active listening thus becomes a catalyst for personal and organizational growth, transforming communication into development, accountability, and performance alignment. Boundaries enhance the effectiveness of listening. Leaders must balance attentiveness with the need to maintain focus, priorities, and strategic direction. Listening does not mean accepting every suggestion or deferring to every opinion. It involves discernment and selective engagement. Purposeful response requires evaluating the relevance, feasibility, and impact of input before action. Boundaries ensure that active listening supports objectives without compromising standards, authority, or organizational coherence, allowing leaders to filter, prioritize, and act with clarity. Nonverbal communication complements verbal listening. Observing facial expressions, posture, gestures, and tone provides insight into feelings and emphasis that words alone cannot convey. Leaders who interpret these cues accurately gain a deeper understanding of intent and emotion. Nonverbal awareness enriches comprehension, informing responses that resonate authentically. By integrating nonverbal cues into listening and response, leaders enhance effectiveness, demonstrate emotional intelligence, and strengthen relational influence. Active listening also encourages engagement and initiative. Individuals who perceive that their perspectives are valued are more likely to contribute ideas, take ownership of tasks, and invest in outcomes. Listening and responding with purpose signal that participation has tangible impact, motivating others to invest time, effort, and creativity. This dynamic creates a culture where input is both welcomed and acted upon, reinforcing collaboration, innovation, and accountability. Reflection enhances the quality of response. Leaders who take a moment to process information, consider implications, and weigh possible outcomes before responding demonstrate thoughtfulness and prudence. Reflective responses signal maturity, discernment, and strategic thinking. They ensure that reactions are deliberate, relevant, and effective, rather than impulsive or superficial. Reflection paired with active listening fosters credibility, trust, and a reputation for reliable judgment, which are essential components of lasting authority. Empathy, patience, clarity, and strategic thought converge to make listening a powerful leadership tool. Leaders who master active listening cultivate trust, deepen relationships, and strengthen influence. Purposeful responses turn understanding into action, creating alignment, fostering accountability, and inspiring commitment. Authority grows naturally when individuals experience consistent, thoughtful engagement, realizing that leadership is both competent and considerate, responsive, yet disciplined. Active listening and purposeful response transform communication into a mechanism of influence, connection, and sustainable leadership. Number 9. Model excellence. Influence follows naturally. Excellence is contagious when it is demonstrated consistently and authentically. Leaders who embody the standards, behaviors, and discipline they expect from others create a ripple effect that naturally shapes the culture around them. Influence is rarely imposed through words alone. It is earned through visible action, integrity, and dedication. Modeling excellence requires commitment to personal mastery, the courage to uphold principles under pressure, and the discipline to consistently perform at a level that inspires others to aspire toward the same standard. People follow those who demonstrate what is possible, not just what is expected. Authority emerges when individuals witness competence, consistency, and purpose in action. Authenticity is the foundation of modeling excellence. Excellence that is performative or inconsistent undermines credibility and erodes trust. Leaders must align their actions with their words, demonstrating integrity in every decision, interaction, and commitment. Authentic excellence communicates that standards are achievable, that principles are not negotiable, and their dedication is genuine rather than superficial. When leaders act authentically, others internalize those behaviors, recognizing the value of discipline, integrity, and skill. Influence flows naturally from observation of this alignment between intent and action. Discipline is central to consistent excellence. Leaders who maintain rigorous standards in their work ethic, decision-making, and personal habits signal the importance of perseverance, preparation, and focus. Discipline is visible in the way leaders manage time, respond to challenges, and pursue goals relentlessly. Observing such consistency, people are inspired to emulate the habits that produce success, understanding that influence is built through sustained effort rather than occasional brilliance. The discipline of a leader becomes a blueprint for others to follow, establishing a culture where high performance is the norm. Competence reinforces credibility. Leaders who master their craft demonstrate authority through skill and knowledge. People are drawn to those whose expertise is evident in the quality of their work, the precision of their decisions, and the depth of their understanding. Competence communicates capability, reduces uncertainty, and establishes confidence in leadership. When others perceive a leader as highly competent, influence is earned effortlessly because respect emerges organically from the recognition of skill and ability. Excellence modeled in this way creates aspiration, motivating others to elevate their own standards. Consistency amplifies impact. It is not enough to excel sporadically. Leaders must embody excellence every day in every interaction and decision. Reliability in performance, adherence to values, and steadiness under pressure convey that excellence is a habit rather than an occasional achievement. People trust and follow those whose behavior is predictable yet exemplary because it provides a framework for understanding what is expected and possible. Consistent modeling of excellence reinforces influence and ensures that authority is durable, not fleeting. Attention to detail reflects commitment. Leaders who demonstrate meticulous care in their work and decisions signal seriousness, professionalism, and respect for the mission. This level of attentiveness communicates to others that quality matters and that excellence is non-negotiable. People are inspired by leaders who notice the nuances, prioritize precision, and hold themselves accountable for the small as well as the large aspects of performance. Influence grows when individuals see that excellence is embedded in every layer of leadership, from strategy to execution. Resilience is an essential element of modeled excellence. Leaders who remain composed and effective under pressure show others how to navigate challenges without compromising standards. Resilience communicates that setbacks are not failures, but opportunities to learn, adapt, and improve. By confronting adversity with steadiness and determination, leaders set an example of perseverance that naturally shapes the behavior and mindset of those around them. Influence follows when individuals recognize that consistent excellence is achievable even in difficult circumstances. Vision reinforces the power of example. Leaders who articulate and demonstrate a clear standard for excellence provide direction, context, and purpose for others to follow. Modeling excellence without vision can appear arbitrary, but when paired with clear goals and expectations, it becomes a roadmap for achievement. People are more likely to adopt high standards when they understand the purpose behind them, the desired outcomes, and the behaviors that lead to success. Influence grows as leaders translate abstract ideals into observable, actionable practices that inspire action. Emotional intelligence enhances modeled excellence. Leaders who manage their own emotions, respond thoughtfully to others, and demonstrate empathy set a standard for interpersonal behavior. Excellence is not limited to technical skill. It encompasses character, judgment, and the ability to maintain composure in complex situations. Observing these qualities encourages others to emulate emotional discipline, improving collaboration, morale, and the overall culture. Influence is strengthened when excellence encompasses both performance and relational integrity. Accountability is vital to demonstrating authenticity and inspiring others. Leaders who own both successes and mistakes illustrate that excellence involves responsibility, transparency, and courage. Acknowledging errors while striving to correct them models humility and resilience, teaching that excellence is a journey rather than a fixed state. When people see that leaders hold themselves to the same standards expected of others, trust deepens, engagement rises, and influence strengthens naturally. Modeling accountability demonstrates that high standards are actionable, enforceable, and fair. Curiosity fuels ongoing improvement. Leaders who pursue learning, seek feedback, and refine their skills demonstrate that excellence is dynamic rather than static. People are inspired by those who continuously evolve, adapt, and innovate, recognizing that mastery requires ongoing effort and reflection. By modeling a commitment to growth, leaders create a culture where learning and improvement are valued, and influence extends beyond authority to aspiration. Excellence in leadership, therefore, is as much about mindset and development as it is about immediate performance. Recognition of others is part of modeled excellence. Leaders who acknowledge and celebrate high performance reinforce the behaviors they wish to see replicated. This approach communicates that excellence is not only personal but collective, creating a culture where high standards are valued and pursued collaboratively. By modeling acknowledgement, leaders cultivate an environment where achievement is visible, aspiration is inspired, and influence is magnified through encouragement rather than coercion. Integrity amplifies authority. Leaders who act ethically, make principled decisions, and honor commitments demonstrate that excellence includes moral clarity. People are drawn to leaders whose competence is coupled with a clear ethical foundation, because influence rooted in integrity inspires trust, loyalty, and respect. By consistently upholding values while pursuing excellence, leaders create an environment in which standards are understood, respected, and emulated without the need for force or intimidation. Balance strengthens sustainability in modeled excellence. Leaders who maintain personal well-being, boundaries, and focus while pursuing high standards demonstrate that sustainable success requires care and discipline. Observing this balance encourages others to adopt habits that prevent burnout, enhance effectiveness, and reinforce long-term achievement. Influence is strengthened when leaders embody not just excellence, but a sustainable approach to achieving it. In essence, modeling excellence is the most powerful form of leadership. Authority is earned, respect is inspired, and influence grows naturally when leaders consistently demonstrate skill, integrity, discipline, and vision. Words alone cannot inspire the same level of commitment as observable action aligned with values. Leaders who embody high standards, maintain resilience, communicate purpose, and cultivate growth create a culture where excellence is habitual, influence is effortless, and authority is undeniable. By living the principles they advocate, leaders transform potential into performance and aspiration into achievement, leaving a lasting imprint that others naturally choose to follow. Number 10. Make tough decisions. Show courage. Courage is the defining trait that separates leaders from followers, particularly when decisions are difficult, high stakes, or unpopular. The ability to make tough decisions requires a combination of clarity, conviction, and resilience. True leadership is revealed not in comfort and consensus, but in the willingness to confront uncertainty, take responsibility, and act decisively when the path forward is challenging. Tough decisions are rarely convenient, and they often carry personal and professional risk. Yet, leaders who rise to the occasion inspire trust, respect, and loyalty because they demonstrate that integrity and purpose matter more than avoidance or ease. Courage in leadership transforms hesitation into action and potential into results. Making difficult decisions begins with understanding the stakes. Leaders must evaluate the situation comprehensively, weighing potential outcomes, risks, and long-term consequences. This requires both analytical rigor and emotional awareness. A clear assessment allows leaders to separate essential issues from distractions, identify priorities, and understand how their choices will impact individuals, teams, and objectives. Leaders who take the time to gather information, consider alternatives, and reflect on values can act confidently, knowing that their decisions are informed, deliberate, and purposeful. Preparation reduces uncertainty, yet courage is required to commit to action despite residual unknowns. Accepting responsibility is central to courageous decision-making. Every choice carries consequences, and leaders must be willing to own both success and failure. Accountability is inseparable from courage, because avoidance of responsibility undermines credibility and erodes trust. Leaders who face the outcomes of their decisions openly communicate integrity, reliability, and strength. Responsibility also extends to anticipating the ripple effects of decisions on others, demonstrating that courage is not recklessness, but the willingness to bear the weight of authority thoughtfully and ethically. Emotional discipline enhances the capacity to make tough decisions. Leaders encounter pressure, criticism, and uncertainty, all of which can provoke fear, hesitation, or doubt. Courage does not mean absence of fear, it means acting despite it. Leaders cultivate emotional control by remaining composed, objective, and focused, even in the midst of conflict or high stakes. This steadiness reassures others, models resilience, and ensures that decisions are guided by reason and principle rather than impulse or panic. Composure under pressure amplifies respect and reinforces authority. Values serve as a compass in difficult decision-making. Leaders guided by core principles can navigate ambiguity with clarity and confidence. When choices are grounded in ethics, vision, and mission, courage becomes both moral and strategic. Decisions aligned with values demonstrate integrity and inspire loyalty, even when unpopular. Leaders who prioritize long-term impact over short-term approval signal that authority rests on consistency and principle, not convenience or popularity. Values act as an anchor, enabling decisive action when circumstances are complex and the stakes are high. Communication is a critical component of courage in leadership. Tough decisions often provoke questions, resistance, or concern. Leaders who articulate reasoning, acknowledge trade-offs, and explain expected outcomes mitigate uncertainty and build understanding. Transparent communication does not eliminate challenges, but it reinforces credibility, aligns effort, and demonstrates accountability. When people understand the rationale behind difficult choices, they are more likely to accept and support the decision, even when it is uncomfortable or demanding. Courage is amplified when paired with clarity and honest dialogue. Timing is essential when taking bold action. Delays in decision-making can exacerbate problems, reduce momentum, and diminish trust. Leaders who act with both deliberation and timeliness signal that they are decisive, competent, and accountable. Courage is reflected in the ability to make the call promptly, balancing the need for reflection with the imperative to move forward. Hesitation in the face of urgency erodes confidence, while timely, principled action reinforces authority and inspires confidence among teams and stakeholders. Risk assessment and management are integral to courageous leadership. Every difficult decision carries uncertainty, and leaders must evaluate potential benefits and drawbacks carefully. Courage is not the absence of caution, but the willingness to act when the stakes are significant and the outcomes uncertain. Leaders who confront risk transparently and strategically demonstrate foresight, prudence, and initiative by addressing potential consequences while moving decisively. Leaders create trust, inspire confidence, and show that bravery is measured, thoughtful, and purposeful. Learning from tough decisions strengthens future courage. Leaders who reflect on outcomes, identify lessons, and integrate insights into subsequent choices build resilience and judgment. Each experience of confronting complexity, managing risk, and accepting accountability reinforces competence and confidence. Courage is cultivated through practice and experience, growing with each instance where decisive action is required. Leaders who model continuous growth demonstrate that even difficult outcomes can be transformative and educational, inspiring others to embrace responsibility rather than fear it. Empowering others through courageous decisions fosters trust and collaboration. Leaders who act decisively while considering the perspectives, expertise, and input of others create shared ownership of outcomes. Courage is not authoritarian. It involves integrating insight, delegating responsibility appropriately, and making tough calls while maintaining respect and inclusion. This approach signals that leadership is accountable, principled, and informed, cultivating a culture where initiative and responsibility are valued and reinforced. Adaptability is essential when implementing difficult choices. Leaders must remain responsive to evolving conditions, feedback, and unexpected challenges. Courage involves acknowledging the need to adjust, pivot, or course correct, while remaining committed to overarching principles. Flexibility ensures that bold decisions remain effective and aligned with objectives, demonstrating that bravery includes both action and the wisdom to adapt. People respect leaders who act decisively yet thoughtfully, balancing conviction with responsiveness. Resilience in the face of criticism and opposition is a hallmark of courageous leadership. Tough decisions often provoke pushback, skepticism, or resistance. Leaders must maintain composure, reinforce reasoning, and uphold accountability while navigating dissent. Courage is expressed not only in the act of choosing, but in sustaining commitment in the presence of challenge. By demonstrating resilience, leaders inspire confidence, loyalty, and admiration, showing that influence derives from principled persistence rather than avoidance of discomfort. Vision unites courage and action. Leaders who make difficult decisions, anchored in long-term objectives, demonstrate foresight and strategic clarity. Tough choices are easier to justify and implement when aligned with a broader mission, purpose, and desired outcome. People are more willing to follow when they perceive that challenging decisions serve a higher goal, not arbitrary preference. Courage coupled with vision establishes legitimacy, reinforces authority, and ensures that actions are both respected and impactful. In essence, making tough decisions and showing courage is the defining characteristic of impactful leadership. Authority is earned, respect is commanded, and influence is solidified when leaders act decisively in the face of uncertainty, balance risk with principle, and accept responsibility for outcomes. Courage is demonstrated through preparation, ethical grounding, clarity, resilience, and unwavering commitment to purpose. Leaders who embrace difficult choices inspire loyalty, build trust, and model integrity, creating an environment where action is deliberate, outcomes are meaningful, and leadership leaves a lasting, transformative impact. Courage is not simply a trait, it is a practice, a habit, and a standard by which authority and respect are measured.